Welcome to Jibba Jabba, the podcast where we dive into the stories behind successful entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Sanj Saigal, and in today's episode, we have a very special guest, Duccio Zambrini, the founder and owner of London Connector, an organization that specializes in networking and connecting professionals. Duccio, welcome to the show.
Welcome. I mean, thank you for having me here. As well.
That's okay. Stage fright is fine.
Welcome to everyone who is listening. That's what I mean.
Well,
thank you.
Let me start with you. You're a fascinating character. Let's start from the beginning. Tell me a bit about yourself and your journey that led you to being the owner and founder of London Connector.
Yes. I started doing events 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was truly, it's a business now, and it was truly unintentional. So at that time, I was going to other people's events. Mm-hmm. I was inviting friends, and at some point, they asked me, why don't you do your own events? Because I was inviting quite a good number of people. So I've done one for fun. I was expecting 20 people. We had 83. Wow. Went really well. And they then asked me to do a second one. Mm-hmm. Which I did after 1 month, which was even bigger. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was working in the city, and it was very good fun. I enjoyed what I was doing with these events. I said, you know what, I may give it a go. I may start a business out of it. Wow. And that was in 2011. And in summer 2011, I had 200-300 people coming to my events. What I did not realize at that time, though, was that I found some niche. I was marketing events in a very effective way without actually realizing they were so effective. Long story short, in November, I left my job in the city. I started my business full-time as an event organizer. And then actually, at that time, those niche I had found were no longer niche. And we had about 50 people coming to the event. So I had to push again. But anyway, that's been the journey. We had to stop during COVID, obviously, and here I am today.
That's quite a jump from a full-time job to taking the gamble and being self-employed. Were you worried at all? I mean, were you sort of thinking, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Yes. So this is what many people, very often people ask me, and they can say, "Well, you've been, very brave." The truth of the matter is not, because I was very well. I'm not saying very well off. I mean, it's an exaggeration, but I was financially independent. Okay, so I made some money. I had one property already, and I figured it out that the worst that could happen to me is that I would not work for the rest of my life and live out of my savings. That's the very worst that could happen to me. Right.
That's a nice position to be in. Yeah,
exactly.
But it's still a gamble, right? It was still a gamble.
It was a gamble, yes, and it was a gamble because there was no guarantee it would succeed. However, here's what I did not maybe consciously realize at that time, but definitely I'm more conscious about these days. The desire to do that, the wish to do it, the will to do it was so strong that it was impossible not to resist it, if that makes sense. So at that point, it was a gamble. It can be seen as a gamble, but it was just following my desire and doing what really I wanted to do.
A calculated gamble.
And it was also, absolutely, and there was a lot of calculation because, as I said, the worst that could happen, I would not be working for the rest of my life, but still be able to have the quality of life that I was looking for.
So tell me about, this is obviously, it was a dream, I'm sure, like many of the small business owners that you meet every day who tell you, listen, I've got a dream, but I don't know how to turn it into reality. What kind of advice would you give to them, having been through the process yourself?
Yes.
So again,
you put me on the spot because my advice would be, follow your dreams when you are financially independent, which is not what most people are these days. And
that's right.
My advice is to, you said that before, and probably this is what I would say, to take a calculated risk in what you're doing. Definitely a certain element of financial autonomy is important. And I saw it quite often. People start something, there's some traction, and then they run out of money and they need to go back to work because the bills need to be paid.
Right.
I was actually profitable from day one, so that was even easier in that way. The business has always been profitable. But and on the other side, if it's something you really, really want to do and you are so passionate, do it. The other thing I would say is surround yourself with entrepreneurs. Right. Even before that, make sure you have, I call them anchors, so people that you can rely on, friends, family, ideally, or people you can rely on that they are your best supporter, and they can listen to you, give you an objective and impartial advice also on what you're doing. Right. And then definitely surround yourself with fellow entrepreneurs. I did not realize how important that was for the first 12 months ish of my business.
Tell me about. That's a very interesting point there. I mean, did you meet any opposition? I mean, did people say, "Duccio, what are you doing? Don't be silly. Don't do this. Don't do that." Did you meet negative people? I mean, you said surround yourself in entrepreneurs, but along your journey, did you meet negative people?
Not because nobody who over the last 12 years has been close to me was at any point concerned about what I was doing. My parents were a bit surprised I was taking the decision, but then again they saw me already making few U-turns in my previous life already. Right. And they say, okay, you're gonna, as one of my first teachers always said, Duccio, you may fall and you will fall more than once, but for some reason you always seem to be fall on your legs. And
that's a nice thing to say. Yeah. That's
yes.
Nice thing to say. Yes.
So, and I think I was so convinced about what I was doing, so passionate, I'm still at, that it's difficult to be negative around me on this particular spot, because it would be really going against the flow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, let me take you back further. Your journey. You were born in Italy and you moved to London. When did you actually move? Was it pre-COVID, post-COVID when you moved?
93.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And was it a big cultural shock in terms of culture, people?
It was. That was actually following one of my dreams. Right. It wasn't a shock. It was very different. In a way, I believe that the difference between Italy and UK in 93 was much bigger than the difference between Italy and UK these days, primarily because of the multicultural element of London that was not present in Italy at that time. And for me, one of the key reasons why I wanted to be in London was to be able to be in that kind of environment. The other thing was the ease of doing business in London, how easy it was to do everything really, actually, not even business, but, to be independent and so on. So it was a dream. The idea was to spend 3 months in London, make some money, and then I arrived in London in September 93. So the plan was very clear, make some money, improve my English, and then in January I'm going to go to Senegal and to Mali.
Very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Yes, and I never been to Mali. I've been to Senegal, but that was before coming to London. I've never been to Senegal and Mali. Right. I actually extend my stay in London for a bit longer. I mean, you can do the math between 93 and today. Wow. I've been. Yeah.
So I mean, you now, here you are now, this is 2024. You have over 7.3 thousand followers, I think, on Facebook, last count. You have a huge following on on social media, to include LinkedIn. Tell me about London Connector and tell me about the services that you offer to professionals.
Yeah, so London Connector is an events company. We do in excess of 100 events per year. Some of them, they are business events open to anybody. Others, they are what we call verticals. So events for people in property, for people who manage wealth, people who are in the legal sector, AI as well. These days it's becoming very, very popular, luxury, and so on. So we got 14 verticals that we regularly do. And it's an events company. People can buy tickets as you go, or they can sign up for the yearly membership.
Right.
And effectively is also a community. Right. More and more is becoming a community of like-minded people, of entrepreneurs. I love when I see, particularly on LinkedIn, that people from London Connector, they got together, they out of our events and so on, and is something that I own 100% as a business, and I plan to keep that way, to be honest. However, the element of community that is growing, around the events is something that I'm very keen. I'm very happy to see, very keen to foster. So going forward, there will be more of these. There will be more opportunity for people to actually get together out of the events. But that's for London Connector. And then alongside with London Connector, there are now other businesses that they are spinning off in a way. So I'm involved with matchmaking for singles.
Right.
And so the events actually are more like, let's call it even a funnel for that kind of business. And also working as an ambassador for a fashion brand in Italy. So we do events for them, but again, it's more under their own brand and so on. But London Connector, as I say, to answer your question, and you've been attending many of those events and so on.
Yes. And that's why I wanted to get you on the show. I mean, I'm a member of London Connector, and so I've seen it from the inside, and it's a fascinating model. I enjoy the events. Tell me about expansion. I mean, London Connector is London-based, obviously, and you do enough events really per year. Any plans to expand through the UK? It's a big place.
No, there are no plans to expand in UK. And London Connector as such will grow naturally, if it grows naturally. With events, I think it's very important, at least for me, that growth comes naturally, organically. At the core of what I'm doing, we try and keep a very personal touch element. You met Elena, who's hosting with us, and so we try and make sure that whoever comes to the event is really coming to an experience that is as close as possible to dinner, party, and so on. So, and we can't really keep that personal touch if we go from 50 to 500 in one go.
Would you say that that's what sets you apart from the sort of other networking organizations? I mean, there are a lot. Post-COVID, networking organizations were springing up everywhere in London. Are those factors that you just said, the experience of London Connector, is that what sets you apart, or is there anything else you would like to add to that?
I can't really comment on that one because I don't have direct experience of other networks. I believe that in fairness, those who are doing well, they do have that kind of personal touch. It's not copyright, it's not trademark, it's not a magic formula. And we are in a business that, in a way, can be replicated quite easily. So in other words, it's not what you do, it's the way you do it. It's the way I do it, for sure. And I guess that ultimately, I'll be very honest here. I don't think that London Connector is, as they say sometimes, disrupting the market. The market is, unique. I'm convinced, without knowing, that there are similar organizations doing well as well as we do. I'm also conscious and aware that you mentioned the number of followers. We do have one of the highest number of followers on Eventbrite, for example, and also on LinkedIn. So there's definitely something we're doing to differentiate from others, and we do more events than pretty much any other organization. So we're definitely doing well from an observer point of view. But what I'm trying to say is that I believe that people find their own tribe. They when it comes to business, okay?
Right.
And realistically, there are people who do business in different ways and they like different formats. Those who come to our events, they resonate with the idea that every connection is human to human, okay? Mm-hmm. So before being B2B, B2C, or B2D, or B2F, whatever, it's human to human. There is that kind of genuine desire and belief that I really enjoy meeting other people. And if I sell something, it's great. When people ask me what is the secret of networking, I say, well, I can tell you how I do it myself. Right. I always go there with an intention. There's something I want to sell, okay? There's something I want to get for the network. And I go there and I know exactly what I want. I'm very clear. And I'm very open to whatever comes up. Right. So if I, for example, when I go to my own events, I want to sell the membership most of the time. Yeah. And then if I have a nice conversation with someone and something else comes up, I'm staying there. I'm enjoying getting inspiration, getting away with other people's stories. Fun. That's also something that really fills me up. Sure. And I think the people come to our events and you are one of those, they share that kind of ethos. Mm-hmm. If they sell something, great. If they build a relationship for the sake of building a relationship, it's also great. And that's why Connector is part of the brand, because I recognize this desire that we have to feel connected to other people. It's in our DNA, and it's something that cannot be taken away from us. It's built in us. Yeah. So London Connector is basically resonating with people who somehow align with that kind of belief.
Excellent. Well, look, I'm not going to ask you about prices, but what I am going to ask you is how people can join. Is there something you have to pay for an annual membership? Can you pay as you go? Can you attend as many events as you like? How does it work?
Yeah, so they can do it in ways. They can either buy tickets and they will be pay as you go, or they can sign up for the yearly membership. The yearly membership is designed, from my perspective, primarily to have people, I think relate to this, like you, who regularly come to the event. They know other people, so they effectively create a kind of familiar vibe at the event. So if someone comes there for the first time, it doesn't really feel that it's going to a place where nobody knows nobody. Yeah. And these people who are members, they are the ones who primarily are in a position also sometimes to refer whoever needs to be referred to whoever needs to be referred, because they know the people in the room already and they know who is who within the room. So I encourage people to come as often as possible, actually, the members, which is counterintuitive because they pay a fixed fee. So why would I want them to come as often as possible once they become a member? But, and literally taking space away from other people who can pay a ticket. Yeah. And we do end up being sold out quite a few times because of that reason. But as I said, without the members, we would not be able to do what we're doing. Yeah. There wouldn't be that kind of element of really, feeling welcome as well. And also, it's important, as I was saying at the beginning, to have this kind of common belief. Right. And people feel into it. And one of the most common feedback from people who come for the first time is how welcoming everybody was. That's one of the most common feedback from people who come for the first time, and they really. I have to agree with that. Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's a very nice environment. Very, very nice environment. Duccio, we're nearly out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey with us. It was a pleasure having you on Jibba Jabba. Thank you. Thank you for having me. My pleasure as well. It's been really I'm grateful. It's been really pleasant. Thank you. If you would like to feature on our show, you can contact us via our bio on Instagram, Facebook, X, and Threads. Your podcast will be featured on our radio show Jibba Jabba, Spotify, and Apple, as well as in a digital magazine publication. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our show. And until next time, bye for now.